Welcome to problem number 6 from the August 2017 Algebra Regents exam. And the functions f of x equals kx squared and g of x equals the absolute value of kx, k is a positive integer. So it says if k is replaced by 1/2, which statement about these new functions is true? So essentially, since we know k starts off as a positive integer, that means we know it must be at least 1 or 2 or 3 and so on. So by becoming 1/2, we know that it's getting smaller. So the question is, what happens when that value becomes smaller? And you'll notice in both of these functions, k is the coefficient for x. So what I did is on the left-hand side down here, I showed some various formats of equations or functions. So you got your usual ax squared plus bx plus c. This is the vertex form of an equation. You've got a times x minus h squared plus k, and then also the absolute value of ax. But you'll notice in all of these cases, a is our coefficient in front of x. And hopefully what you might remember is in all of these cases, a will always determine how wide that function is when it is graphed. So whenever you have a big a value, that means it's going to be really steep. For example, if we were to graph just y equals x squared, it might look something like this. But if you were to graph y equals 10x squared, so that a value has become a lot larger, then you'd be dealing with a much steeper parabola like that. So in this case, when we're dealing with the coefficient becoming smaller, that would make the opposite result happen. It would become, the graph would become wider in all of these cases. So looking at our potential answers, the correct one would be option number 1. The graphs of both of them would become wider because our coefficient is getting smaller. So I hope that makes sense. And that's all for this video. Thanks for visiting JD's Regents Preparation.